What a wild weekend of NFL games, from an incredible Thursday night game between Baltimore and Cincinnati, all the way to a pretty exciting Monday night game between the Rams and Dolphins, despite it not being a high score. A game that went back and forth, and there were some good defensive performances. Today, we are going to be going over my Week 11 power rankings, where I think the bottom 12 teams in the league are all really bad. And then you can start talking about some of the mediocre teams. This year, unlike any other, it's been a very entertaining season. It feels very top heavy, and there are a lot of bad football teams this year, way more than I recall in any other previous season. And we're going to be talking about it all in today's video. If you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Working on some new stuff for my college football fans out there that I think you guys are really going to enjoy. We do weekly power rankings, mock drafts, prospect spotlights, and all sorts of stuff. So be sure to hit that notification bell so you never miss out on an upload. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page. We did a free exclusive offer for the draft guide for anyone that wanted it. That is available for $5 a month. You guys will get exclusive access to my scouting reports, player evaluations, and so much more. Almost 550 prospects on the board now. So let's go ahead and get into it, though. Don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's talk about the worst team in the league. That's going to be the New York Football Giants. Fall to 2-8 after losing to the Carolina Panthers. This team is a really weird one, and for a lot of time, for the last few weeks I had been talking about, I didn't want to move the Giants down because despite them being on this losing streak, they'd been kind of competitive in some of these games. The defense has played well. I thought they had been able to run the ball. I liked what they had been able to do with Tyrone Tracy. And I'm ready to officially sell any remaining stock or faith I had in this New York Giants team. This is a bad football team. Daniel Jones should not be starting at quarterback for them next week. I think it comes down to that. He was absolutely horrible against the Carolina Panthers, turning the ball over, bad decision-making, wide open guys on the field that he's just not able to hit. He is probably the worst starting quarterback in all of football. I don't think anyone's going to dispute that. And I don't think he's going to have a job next year, but I think it goes further than that. The receivers were okay. They weren't awesome. The Dable situation is weird because I think a lot of people think he should be fired. I really don't know if that is the right move for the Giants. If you look at this Giants team, what's he supposed to do with this team? It's severely under-talented. There's just not a lot of players on that team that I really trust. And so what do you think he's going to be able to do with that team? The defense has played well. Their run defense has been the big question mark for them. They really cannot stop the run, and we saw that against Carolina. I think they're the worst team in football right now. They've got a lot of questions to answer, and I think they're at the bottom of the league. But lucky for them, the Cowboys aren't that far off. Yeah, the Cowboys are at number 31. And this is really coming off the heels that Dak Prescott is out for the season, and I think that officially ends any hope that the Cowboys had remaining in this year. And it showed yesterday against the Eagles. I mean, I turned this game off after the second quarter. This game was as good as over. Their offense was so bad this entire football game. It didn't matter if it was Cooper Rush. It didn't matter if it was Trey Lance. There's no creativity. In previous years, when Dak went down, this wasn't like catastrophic because they still had the threat of a run game. And we've gone on here and we've talked about how bad the run game is for the last few weeks, and I'm not going to do that again. We know this is a bad run game. I talked about it at the deadline. I thought they were by far the stupidest team at the trade deadline to trade a fourth-round pick for Jonathan Mingo, who barely even saw the field in this game. It didn't make any sense in the world. They have no quarterback to get CeeDee Lamb open, to get Jake Ferguson open. You've got to throw your receivers open. You can't wait for them to get open. I don't trust Cooper Rush or Trey Lance to do that. And the defense really struggled in this game. They couldn't stop the threat of the run. Like you could get the pass rush home, and then Jalen Hurts was scrambling 15, 20-yard runs left and right. A.J. Brown had a good game, and the defense is all over the place, and I think we are in for a complete overhaul in Dallas. I think McCarthy gets fired. I think Mike Zimmer gets fired. I think every single person in that team gets fired. For the Cowboys, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. You're probably going to have a top 5 pick. You could go and improve the horrible run defense that you have had to make up for the bust that Mozzie Smith has been up to this point. You can go and improve the secondary, the wide receiver room. There's options for this Cowboys team to make right now. So I don't think them being bad this year is the worst thing in the world, but they have to be the most disappointing team in all of football right now. I've got them sitting at number 31. At number 30, we got the Vegas Raiders. Don't want to spend a lot of time on them. No quarterback, no run game, no wide receivers. This offense is completely one-dimensional, and that dimension is Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers has been an absolute revelation for this team at the tight end position as a rookie. I mean, he's towards the top of the league in some very, very pivotal stats for all receiving weapons, wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs. He is up in the top 10 in some of these statistics. He's been absolutely incredible. But the injuries on the defense, I think, is really going to be the storyline. Max Crosby, he's dealt with some injuries. Obviously, you had Christian Wilkins go down. You had Malcolm Kuntz go down. This team is very, very bad. They have no quarterback. The reason I have them ahead of the Giants and the Cowboys, I kind of trust Gardner Minshew more than I trust any of these other quarterbacks that we just talked about. And I think Max Crosby is the best player on either of these two teams. I think he can find ways to wreck games himself. And yeah, I think Micah Parsons is incredible. I think Dexter Lawrence is equally incredible, but I don't know. I'm giving the Raiders the benefit of the doubt here. I've got them at number 30. You could argue they're number 32. I wouldn't disagree with you. Like I said, there's a lot of bad football teams this year. At number 29, we got the Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints, jumping up 3 spots. Had them at the worst team in the league last week. A win against the Falcons doesn't really change my opinion all that much. It was a great win for this team. Shout out to Coach Rizzi getting his first win as a head coach. That's why I'm not putting too much stock into this. We can go back through NFL history and see that the new coach theory is alive and well. As soon as a team fires their head coach, the team rallies together and they're able to go get a win. We saw it with Antonio Pierce last year. The Colts even did it with Jeff Saturday a couple of years ago, which was a historically bad head coaching job. So for the Saints, it's a good win. I thought they played pretty well. They allowed the Falcons to hang in it way too long. We'll get to the Falcons in a little bit. There is still a lot of issues that I have with this team. Derek Carr had a great game. He made some incredible passes to Marquez Valdes-Scantling. That one touchdown throw he had is one of the best throws I think any quarterback has thrown all year. In between two defenders, just threw it, a rainbow right in between them was perfect. The Alvin Kamara drop it screwed my parlay on Underdog Fantasy, but it also was just one of the worst drops you'll ever see. They allowed them to hang around too long. I still think that the defense is bad. I still think that the offense is going to have its inconsistency. But a win is a win. Derek Carr is by far the best quarterback of the teams that we've talked about. And they've got some playmakers that I think can make plays. But shout out to them getting the win without Chris Olave, without Rashid Shaheed. They had a really nice one, and they jump up 3 for me. Another team that had an interesting week were the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are at number 28 for me. They actually were pretty solid in this game against the Chargers. I don't think they ever really had a chance to win this game, despite the final score being relatively close. But I think you got to feel pretty good about what the Titans showed. What they're getting from Tony Pollard right now is way more than what I was expecting them to get. Tony Pollard has been great for this team. Bouncing runs to the outside, running between the sticks. He's had some really big moments for them. And I think he's been one of the more impressive players on this team. I also think you're getting good stuff from J.C. Latham, a player that I was pretty low on coming into the draft. Thought he was one of the more overdrafted players. He's been pretty good for them the last few weeks. Defensively, you're still going to have your concerns. Justin Herbert was throwing all over this football team. I also think that Will Levis, he had a good game. You guys know, not a Will Levis guy, but didn't turn the ball over, made good decisions, looked decisive with the ball. That's good. And you're getting good play from Calvin Ridley. A loss is a loss. I still think you're a bad football team, but it was a loss that I feel like you can point to different things with this team and feel pretty good about what you saw from them. I got the Titans at 28. I thought it was a pretty solid game from them overall. At number 27, I got the Carolina Panthers. I moved them up 1 spot last week. I was like, yeah, they beat the Saints, who were my bottom team. And now they beat the Giants, who are my bottom team this week. So how much stock am I putting into this? Not too much, but I will say I've been pretty impressed with Dave Canales. I think he's doing a really good job the last couple of weeks of getting Bryce Young in spots where he's comfortable. You see it. The timing is better with these receivers. It's not been perfect from Bryce. He's still making bad decisions, some accuracy concerns, but no turnovers in the game against the Giants, which was very encouraging. He's making plays happen. I actually they trade Deontay Johnson, they trade Jonathan Mingo. I actually really like their receiving room. I loved Xavier Legette coming out of South Carolina, and Jalen Coker was a huge my guy. I thought he was one of the biggest sleepers in the draft class. Was shocked that he went undrafted. He's been a really good player for this Panthers team as an undrafted pickup. So that's been a really good find for them. They got good play from the defense. Shout out to Josie Jewell. He was everywhere for them. The big story out of this one's going to be Chuba Hubbard. Gets his extension, and he's playing some of the best football of his career, running with speed, with quickness, with the vision that he has. He's been playing really, really good football, and it makes this offense a little bit more exciting. Are they going to win 3 more games this year? Probably not. But what you have seen from the Panthers the last couple of weeks is a quarterback that is getting confident, weapons that are rallying around a young star, and good coaching. That's what you feel good about if you're the Carolina Panthers. I think there's a lot to build off of. Your next game is against the Chiefs, so let's pump the brakes a little bit. But I've been pretty impressed with what we've seen from them the last couple of weeks. And I said it last week, don't let Bryce get a chance, because I really do think he still has the makings of being a really good quarterback in this league, and he's only getting better week in and week out. At number 26, we got the Chicago Bears. I genuinely thought about putting them at the worst team in the league. And there's so many things that we could point to. I don't want to go in depth on this entire team. Brett Coleman did a full breakdown a couple of weeks ago on this Bears team. Go check out that video. I'm really just going to be repeating a lot of those same sentiments. There is a serious culture problem in Chicago, and that's what it comes down to. That Hail Mary, I genuinely think, broke this franchise. Matt Eberflus should be on the domestic terrorist list for what he has done to this team. It has been an absolute disaster of a coaching job. This is the worst coaching job in the NFL this year. Yes, I think Antonio Pierce has done a better job. I think that you've gotten better play from all the coaches that are still coaching in the league right now. I think have been better than what Matt Eberflus has been. The defense has been good for Chicago. They haven't allowed a team to score over 20 points in quite some time. You feel good about that. The offense sucks. And there's so many different areas you can point to. Caleb Williams has not played well. That's really what it boils down to. Caleb Williams has not been very good this year. The accuracy concerns are there. He's not playing in rhythm on time, and the accuracy is taking a hit because of it. That being said, I don't think we can blame Caleb Williams for all of his faults. Now, I'm not going to play devil's advocate. Yes, the accuracy's been bad. He's got to improve the footwork. He's got to get the ball out of his hands quicker. But how is he supposed to get the ball out of his hands quicker when he doesn't have men open? No one's getting open for this team. I mean, DJ Moore was playing absolutely incredible last year. He hasn't been great. Rome Odunze has been a big disappointment for me. I had Rome Odunze, I had Malik Neighbors on my big board. That one's not aging too well for me. He's shown flashes. I actually think he's been the best receiver for the Bears this year, but you're not getting any consistency. And the O-line has been an absolute disaster. 9 sacks on Caleb Williams yesterday. I mean, we could keep going. The offensive line's bad, but I think Shane Waldron is really where this boils down to. They haven't had a good, consistent running game really all season long. But if you look at the way that the offense runs, there are no quick outs for Caleb Williams. There's not any halfback screens. There's not any short crossers or slants or anything that can help your quarterback get rhythm. That's what these quarterbacks thrive off of. Yeah, you get him 3 to 4 completions in a row. Get him feeling confident. Then take these shots. He's holding the ball for so long because nobody is in his field of vision. He doesn't have easy reads. You got to make this offense simpler for him. And by doing that, you've got to fire everybody. Fire Eberflus, fire Waldron, completely start over which is what they should have done in the offseason. They should not have come into this year with Matt Eberflus as the head coach. Everybody knew that. Everyone knew Eberflus was a bad coach. I will take some blame here. I thought Eberflus was going to be fine. He's a great defensive mind. I hope he comes back to my Colts to be the defensive coordinator. He's not a guy that is going to be a leader of men in that locker room. The culture does not respect him. Nobody in that locker room respects him, and it shows by the play on the field. And they have been one of the more disappointing teams in the league this year for a team that I thought was going to be in the playoffs. I thought they were going to be a 9-8 playoff team. Granted, there's still time to turn it around, but what we're seeing from this culture, I don't see this turning around anytime soon for the Bears. So I've got them at number 26. And number 25, talk about a team with a bad culture, but is also kind of winning at the same time. It's the New England Patriots coming off a really solid win against that Chicago Bears team. This team's actually playing good football. And from what you're seeing from Drake May, that's really the difference maker between him and the rest of these guys. Drake May is playing really good football. If you look at some of these throws he's making with no weapons, no receivers, he's playing really well. He's playing in rhythm. He's playing on time. He's making plays happen with his legs. And you love to see that from a rookie quarterback. I think the play calling has been beneficial towards him. And he's making good decisions. He's making the most out of the opportunities he's given right now. The defense also has been playing really good football. They played well against Tennessee a couple weeks ago. They had a really good game yesterday against the Bears, holding that offense to only 3 points. Christian Gonzalez starting to jump up the board on top corners in the league. He's just shutting down some of the top receivers week in and week out. But you're also getting good play from the pass rush. Keon White's been a big piece for this team all season long. And you're getting good play from this team. I don't think they're great. We talked about it. We started this whole video talking about how there's so many bad teams. The Patriots are one of those really bad football teams right now. But they're winning games. They're being competitive against some of these bad opponents. And I like what we've seen from their defense. They're playing hard, and Drake May is playing good football. So I got the Patriots sitting at number 25, probably the highest we're going to have them all season long. And number 24, up 1 spot to Jacksonville Jaguars. I can't really fully quit this Jags team. They jump up because the Cowboys and Bears dropped, and you're going to see that with the number 23 team as well. That's really the reason these teams are jumping up a spot. The defense played their best game of the year by far. I thought the secondary was absolutely lights out. 3 interceptions. You got good play from the pass rush, making life difficult for Sam Darnold, forcing him into some bad decisions. The offense sucks. I mean, they couldn't do anything. Mac Jones turns the ball over 2 key crucial times. They could not really get anything going on the offensive side of the football. It seemed like Minnesota had the ball the entire game. And I don't have the exact numbers for time of possession. It was Jacksonville just didn't have the ball for very long. Mac Jones was not very good in this game. You got some splash plays from Travis Etienne, which I think is encouraging for Jags fans. But similarly to the Bears, there's a culture issue in Jacksonville. Doug Peterson should have been fired today. Don't know how he is still on the press in the press box for this team, because it showed at the end of the game when you get a stop and you have Trayvon Walker getting into it and getting a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on a 4th down, giving the Vikings the chance to just go for the knee. That's a culture issue. That's an issue with the coaching. And that just can't happen in that situation. This was a very winnable game for Jacksonville that they lost. And yeah, they're at number 24 because they got talent on this roster. There's no doubt about it. And the last few weeks, they've been a competitive team. They were competitive against Philadelphia a couple of weeks ago. They were competitive against Minnesota. They've got to figure out ways to close these games. And without Trevor Lawrence there, which it doesn't look like we will, I don't know the status. There were talks that he might be out for the year. Trevor Lawrence isn't there for this team. It could get really ugly for Jacksonville. So I've got them sitting at number 24. At number 23, same deal. The Browns jump up a spot. Jameis Winston's coming off a horrible performance. And I don't really think it matters all that much. The defense is really the reason they're this high. You're getting good play from the defensive front. Zadarius Smith got traded, but I trust this team. Myles Garrett is an incredible player. You're getting good play from the secondary. and you're hoping that you can get some more rhythm with some of these receivers. Cedric Tillman has been a huge revelation for this team, breaking out as we know it. This Browns team's another team that's not very good. I think their defense is the best single unit that any of these teams have, and that's really the difference maker here because they've got Myles Garrett, who is one of the top 3 best football players on the planet, and you've got Jameis Winston, who I think can win you games on his back. So we'll see with this Cleveland team. They're on a bye week. They jump up because you had Dallas and Chicago go down, but they remain at my number 23 spot. At number 22, it's the Indianapolis Colts, staying the same. The defense has really turned a corner. I think you're getting really good play from the defense. Kenny Moore had a big pick in this game. EJ Speed had a big interception in this game. The pass rush has been really good. Kwity Paye, Dio Dangbo, Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner. Like the front has been creating pressure, and they're playing good football on the defensive side of the ball, which you feel really confident in. I don't know if there's a team that has a bigger issue right now outside of Chicago than the Colts, because there's something off with this locker room. The stench from this locker room stinks. I mean, from the head coach to the players to the general manager to the owner, nobody seems to know anything that's going on. The players seem out of the loop. And I just think it's a complete disaster. As a Colts fan, this is worse than 2022 by a lot, because 2022, yeah, it was bad, but I don't remember there just being this much confusion and controversy in the locker room where players are calling other players out. And I don't understand what's going on in Indianapolis. If you asked me 6 months ago what I thought of Shane Steichen, I picked him to win Coach of the Year. If you ask me today what I think about Shane Steichen, I think he should be fired. I think he has done an absolutely abysmal job of controlling this locker room, of showing his play calling. The play calling has been terrible this year, and there's just a lot of issues. I mean, Joe Flacco needs to go back to the retirement home. 3 interceptions in this game, 3 of the worst interceptions you're going to see all year. Jonathan Taylor, the only positive I really have from this offense, to be quite honest with you. And Adonai Mitchell, shout out to him, had a career day. But, I mean, you got to put Anthony Richardson back in there. You have to. There's just – I get that he's got accuracy concerns, but it's not like Joe Flacco's doing any better. It's just a disaster what we're seeing from Indianapolis right now. And I think Ballard gets fired. I think Steichen gets fired. I think you see – some key changes in this Indianapolis front office, because this is the second time in the last 4 years that this has happened, and this needs to stop now. I've got them staying the same because, well, their defense is playing well. They still are a talented team. They're only 2 games below 500. They're still a route to the playoffs, but they've been heavily disappointing, and I got them at 22. At 21, we got their opponent next week, the New York Jets. I mean, what happened? What happened yesterday against Arizona? I think Arizona's a great team. We'll talk about Arizona. Arizona's got a lot of praise from me this week. What happened to this Jets team that we saw last Thursday night? The defense, missed tackles left and right. Sauce Gardner has been awful this year. I love Sauce Gardner, one of my favorite players in the league. He's been awful this year. I mean, that is the nicest way to put it. He's been terrible. The pass rush has been terrible. I thought Hassan Reddick had a real opportunity to really help this team. And you got some splash plays from Quincy Williams, and you made some plays in the pass rush game. But, I mean, the defense has just been a complete disaster this year. Kyler Murray was getting everything he wanted in this game. Offensively, this is a Cardinals defense that is supposed to be bad, which I actually think this Cardinals defense is way better than anybody thought it was going to be. You're getting really good play from this team. How is it that this offense could not move the football? You have all the weapons at your disposal that you could want. Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, and Breece Hall, and you can't move the football. Aaron Rodgers is a guy that I've defended. I don't think he's fully to blame here, but He hasn't been good this year. The coaching has been a disaster, whether it was Robert Saleh, I'm blanking on the name of their Ulbrich. It doesn't matter who's the coach of this team. This team just stinks. They have, even with all the talent they have, they cannot figure it out. And I don't know what's going on. And yet the talent is still there to where I could see them winning some more games. They're the most talented team, by one of the most talented teams in the league on paper. How are you this bad? I genuinely am in disbelief at how bad this Jets team has been this year. I thought they were going to beat Arizona, and I thought we'd be having conversations about, okay, they can get back in the playoff picture. I think their season's over now. I just don't see. You got to go 7-0 or 6-1, and it's just not happening. I got them at number 21. At number 20, we got the Miami Dolphins. Really, really good win for the Dolphins. They're another one of these teams that I could see them making a bit of a run because they're getting healthy at the right time. Tua is back, and if you watch the game, they still don't really trust Tua, and it shows. I think he only threw 9 passes beyond the line of scrimmage in this game, something like that. They're not asking him to do very much. Get the ball out of your hands quick. It's make quick reads, quick decisions. If it's not there, throw it away. Don't hold on to the ball for too long, and don't get hit, which he got hit a couple times, and we're all holding our breath every time that dude takes a hit because we know, his career could be at jeopardy. But the offense it's been good. I like what you're seeing from Achane. Waddle had a good game. You got good stuff from the offense. The most exciting part about this game for them, though, was the defense. I thought the defense played really well. A pass rush that has not been very good this year. They were creating pressure up front. Zach Sealer's creating push, and you're getting play from Chop Robinson. Calais Campbell was everywhere in this game. They got good stuff from the defense, which Miami hasn't really gotten. They're still a team that I have hesitations on because of the health, because of the way that they play in the cold weather months. That's just the way that the Dolphins are. But a lot of encouraging things to see. They hung with Buffalo last week in a game that they probably should have won. And then they get a good, much-needed win on the road against a tough Rams team who also played a really good defensive game. So I got Miami as the biggest jumper up this week. Got them going up 7. I think they jump into the top 20, and they could definitely make a run here to start. So we might need to keep our eyes on this Miami team. At number 19, we do have the Seattle Seahawks staying the same. We're on a bye week, and I've talked about this a bunch. Don't want to spend a lot of time on the teams on byes, but they are what I thought they were going to be. They're not that great of a football team. Geno is making good plays. He's also making some really bad decisions simultaneously. There's some good and some bad in this team. The defense has been okay. The offense has been also just okay. I've been pretty disappointed by the overall just lack of consistency on both sides of the ball. You'll get good play from Geno, from the receivers, and then it just kind of falls off the next couple of games. This is the perfect 8-9 team. I don't see them finishing above 500, but they're a talented enough team to find ways to win football games. They've got good defensive players. They've got good offensive playmakers. They're going to win more football games, but I don't see them as a playoff team. I got Seattle at number 19. At number 18, up 2 spots are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 1, because I feel worse about a couple of the teams that we talked about. Dallas, Chicago, the Jets. So it kind of gives them a jump up, but I feel very positive about that game from Tampa. You did lose against San Francisco. That being said, Baker Mayfield looked like Superman in this game. The plays where he's just stiff-arming defenders with his left hand, throwing it with his right. He was awesome in the fourth quarter of this game. Kate Otton's playing well. This team is just that unfortunate case of they just got screwed by injuries. You'll get Mike Evans back. Is it going to be too little too late? I don't know. I still think there is a world where they could win more football games because I think there's a talented roster. I think from Baker Mayfield down through the defense, I think you've got good players. You just have been unable to get stops in overtime and on these fourth quarter game-winning drives. And that's been their kryptonite. The Falcons did it to them. The Chiefs did it to him last week. The Niners do it to him again this week. But I thought the defense throughout the game held up well. They limited the Niners to field goals for most of this game. And the Niners left a lot of points on the board. So they've got to get healthy. But I think that this is a good football team still. Not ready to fully give up on this Bucs team, but I got them sitting at number 18. At number 17, the other Monday night team, we got the LA Rams. I'm still holding out my stock on the Rams a little bit. The offensive line was concerning. You got Jonah Jackson and Steve Avila back today. They did not play particularly well, and Miami had one of their best defensive performances of the year. Offensively, Matthew Stafford has been okay. I wouldn't say he's been lights out the last couple of weeks, but he's making plays to win football games. Unfortunately, they came up short. 5 field goals. I think that's only the second time in the Rams era of Matthew Stafford that they didn't have an offensive touchdown. But the defense is really encouraging. This was a defense that I didn't have very high expectations for, I should say. Jared Verse has been far and away the best defensive rookie this year. He's been absolutely phenomenal, creating pressure. He's just got so much power, quickness. He's been awesome. Braden Fisk has been awesome. Cam Kitchens has been awesome. Omar Spates has been good for them. They're getting great play from the young rookies on this defense. And then Kobe Turner, man, he was my breakout guy for the Rams. I thought he was going to be like an all-pro level guy. He won't be an all-pro, but he is playing out of his mind right now. He was everywhere in the game today against Miami. He was awesome. You're getting good play from Byron Young. This team knows how to find these gems down the board, whether that's Puka Nacua, whether that's Kobe Turner. They draft well. They're a talented roster. Do they have enough to get into the NFC playoff picture, which, by the way, looks really good right now? The division's still wide open, but I do have them dropping 4 spots. I thought the offensive line was concerning, and the rest of the division is playing really good football for them right now. So I've got them sitting at number 17. At number 16, a pick that I might regret, I'm keeping the Bengals at number 16. I mean, the defense has struggled, yes. What more could you want from this offense? Genuine question, because Joe Burrow was unbelievable in this game against Baltimore. He made 2 of the best throws I'll see all year in this game. Jamar Chase, unbelievable in this game. You got incredible play from your 2 stars without T. Higgins. You ran the ball well with Chase Brown, and they just came up just short against a really good Ravens team. I'm not worried about this Bengals team right now. From what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, I think this is a team that can get into the playoffs still. The schedule gets a lot easier for them. Now, they got to win Sunday night against the Chargers. If they lose that game, we'll have some other conversation. But they got Tennessee. They've got Denver. They've got games against Cleveland still. They've got easy, winnable games on their schedule. And with the way Burrow's playing, with the way Jamar Chase is playing, I don't see that the way that this team is any worse than 9-8. I mean, they're playing really good football. They got to go 5-2, which there still is a path, but we'll see what they're able to do. I was so impressed with the way their offense played, but their defense has got to get it together. Really lack any sort. I mean, they played good run defense. The secondary's got its concerns. We'll see what they're able to do, but I got them sitting at number 16. And another team that stays the same that I might regret is the Broncos at number 15. Now, I'm a lot higher on Denver than a lot of people, but they were great in this game. They played a better game than the Chiefs did, really the whole way. Bo Nix has been really, really good. I mean, the accuracy is there. He's starting to get accurate. Yeah, we'll have a couple of overthrows here and there, which you'd like to see him get cleaned up. But for a rookie, I feel really good about what you're getting from Bo Nix. Cortland Sutton's getting involved in this offense. We've talked about it a few times with this Broncos team, though. This defense is special. They've got a special defensive group, from Zach Allen to John Franklin Myers to Jonathan Cooper to the linebackers to the secondary. I mean, Everybody on this team is playing absolutely incredible. They were making life so difficult on Mahomes really all day. Zach Allen was awesome in this game. They were creating so much pressure and forcing Mahomes into some bad decisions. That's what you want to see. Now, you lost because of a bad field goal that got blocked on the final kick of the game. I don't know how that happens, but I mean, to lose that way to a top 3 team in the league, I feel good about it. This team's a good football team. I really do think that. And I think their defense is absolutely remarkable. So I've got them sitting at number 15 still. At number 14, we got the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know what to make of this Falcons team. I really don't, because I think you're getting Bijan Robinson had a really good game against the Saints. They had good play from the receivers. They had good play from the offense as a whole, really. Kirk Cousins had a couple of bad plays in there. It's Kirk Cousins. You expect it. But the defense is maybe the worst in the league. And that's not like, I mean, I would, if we were to go through the bottom teams in the league, which defense would I rather have? I'd rather have the Giants defense than the Falcons defense. I'd rather have the Cowboys defense. I'd rather have the Raiders defense. I mean, I think this Falcons team has the worst defense in football. I really do. They can't stop anybody. They really can't. The secondary, they just allow so many points. The offense has to put fireworks up every game. And if they're unable to do that, they're going to lose the football game. Every week, they can't create pressure. They're giving quarterbacks all day to throw the ball. And then quarterbacks are able to throw in their secondary. Because outside of A.J. Terrell and the safeties, I think this team's very beatable. They've been very beatable. Yeah, they're 6-4. But I really don't feel great about a lot of their wins. So, yeah, they're at number 14 because I think their offense is that good. But defensively, they've got to figure out some sort of an identity because this defense really concerns me. If we get into the playoffs, which you've got a 2-game lead over everybody in the division, you're going to win this division. I think this is a wild card exit team, though, because I don't trust this team to win come playoff time if their defense is going to continue this. So I've got them at number 14, dropped 3 spots after an ugly loss to the Saints. At number 13, we got the LA Chargers. A lot of people were upset with me last week because I had the Chargers at number 17, and I was like, look, they haven't beaten anybody. That sentiment still reigns true. I still don't think they've beaten anybody, but Justin Herbert's playing really, really, really good. I mean, if we're talking about a short list of MVP candidates, I think it's Lamar, it's Derrick Henry, Josh Allen, maybe, Kyler Murray, maybe, Justin Herbert's in there, I'd say. I would probably throw – before yesterday, I would have put Jared Goff at number 1, but 5 interceptions does hurt. Justin Herbert's playing great football, though, and this team has an identity offensively. They're going to run play action, they're going to run the football, and they're going to beat you in a lot of different ways in the short to intermediate, which is different than what we've seen from Herbert in the past with these deeper passes. Now, it's still in this offense. They still give these shots to Johnston, to McConkey, who have been like reliable pieces for their offense. The offensive line has been great for them this year. You're getting great play from both Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, who are maybe the best tackle duo in football right now. That's all very encouraging. And the defense, I mean, shout out to Jesse Minter on this defense because they have been awesome all season long at stopping the run, forcing teams into bad decisions, and then just getting the offense more time. Do I think that this is a legit like playoff threat? They'll make the playoffs. Do I think they're going to go far, I should say? No, I don't really think that there's a team that's going to have a deep playoff run that's going to win a lot of games because I still think they are beatable. I still think they have to improve in terms of weaponry. The interior of their defensive line is a little bit weak. But, man, this Chargers team is good. And I like what we've seen from them the last 3 weeks. They've beaten who they should beat. They've beaten the Saints. They've beaten the Browns. They beat the Titans. Three games in a row that, yeah, you win. But the important part about these wins is just how dominant Justin Herbert has looked. And He's looked very, very good. So I've got the Chargers sitting at number 13. At number 12, it's the Houston Texans. I mean, I've said this for a few weeks, and I'm not ready to like fully come out and say this, but this team gives me the vibes of last year's Eagles. And they're going to make the playoffs because the rest of the division is so bad. But man, this team, I get they've had injuries to their key weapons. Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, Tank Dell, Nico Collins. They've all missed time. Will Anderson missed some time yesterday as well. But this team just doesn't have the explosiveness they had last year. If you look at CJ Stroud, his numbers are way worse than they were last year. Turning the ball over more. His decision-making has been way worse this year by a lot. The run game has been pretty good, I would say, but the offensive line is a disaster for Houston. They've got to address the interior of this line tomorrow because it's bad. It's a really bad unit. Now, the secondary was incredible in this game. You picked off 5 times, and they still lost this football game. That's what's crazy. The defense struggled in the second half to stop the run, which has kind of been where they've been beatable. They haven't been a great run defense team. They've got a good pass rush that's been hitting, but back-to-back losses, bad loss to the Jets. They lose to a Lions team that, look, I got the Lions as the best team in the league. That being said, I got the Texans at 12. I'm really concerned about this team. I really am. I think they are very beatable. I think the run game it's average, and CJ Stroud has struggled this season. So I've got the Texans sitting at number 12. At number 11, shout out to you, Michael. We got the Arizona Cardinals. Man, this team is fun. This might be the most fun team in all of football right now. And it's funny because they're winning these games that, look, you could talk about they haven't beat anybody. They beat the Rams. They've beaten the Niners. They've beaten the Chargers. This team has wins on their resume right now that are really impressive. We talked about it with the Jets a little bit. Their defense is way better than I think anybody was anticipating, particularly the secondary. Garrett Williams has been really, really good in the slot. Max Melton has been awesome for them as a rookie out of Rutgers. Shout out my dude, Max Melton. But, I mean, Budda Baker is having maybe the best season of his career. He's been awesome for this team. The pass rush, yeah, it's not super strong, but they've been creating pressure, and you're still going to get Darius Robinson back on this defense. But I just want to talk about this offense because I was talking to my coworker today. Drew Petzing might be the best head coaching candidate next year that nobody's talking about because this offense has been awesome. This is not a one-dimensional offense. The way they're able to incorporate the run with Connor and Benson, use Kyler Murray on some of this stuff is really impressive. But also, what you're getting out of the receivers, Marvin Harrison Jr., he's not putting up these crazy yards or anything like that, which might be why some people are lower on him. He's been awesome, though. I mean, when he's getting targeted, he's making plays. He leads all rookie receivers in touchdowns. Trey McBride is a legit top 5 tight end in the league now. I'm not afraid to say that. Coming into the year, I was. Trey McBride's a top 5 tight end. I think you obviously got Kittle, Kelsey, Bowers. I think I'd put McBride at 4 right now. I think he is a very impressive tight end that is just, he's been awesome, making plays for them left and right. They're able to run the football. Kyler Murray's not turning it over. This is a good Cardinals team. This is a team that is probably going to win the NFC West. And are they going to get far in the playoffs? Do I trust the defense in the playoffs? We shall see. But from what I have seen from this Cardinals team, I think they are a really, really good football team. And I got them at number 11. At number 10, we got the Niners. Good win. I thought you get Christian McCaffrey back, which is huge for you. There's still something missing with this team. They barely beat Tampa. The pass rush has been good. I don't think it's been great. The weapons have been good. I don't think they've been great. Brock Purdy's been good. I don't think he's been great. A lot of concerns I have with this team. The offensive line's okay. The defensive line's okay. I need to see them against one of these really good football teams, which we just haven't seen. They stay at number 10 for me. McCaffrey was good in this game, which I feel like is to be expected. He had some plays. George Kittle had an incredible touchdown, but it wasn't a game that I really felt moved by this Niners team. So I have them staying at number 10. Give them a slight edge over Arizona, just given the talent. But I've said it for a few weeks now. I do worry about the upside of this Niners squad. At number 9, we got the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, they won. I don't know how you can feel good about that win if you are a Vikings fan, with Sam Darnold throwing 3 interceptions and the offense just really struggling. 4 field goals in this game is what won you the game. Your defense was remarkable. You've turned the ball over, or you forced turnovers. You kept the offense on the field. Unfortunately, the offense wasn't able to really make any plays. Off a Colts game where their offense looked awesome, they were moving the ball well. The last couple of weeks, it feels like Sam Darnold is turning the ball over way more than we saw early on. And that's concerning. Darnold is a quarterback that has struggled with turnovers throughout his career. And he looked really good for the first half of the year. And it's starting to kind of go back to old Darnold. You got to see a little bit more improvement there because the turnovers have been bad. But a win's a win. But I didn't feel good about that win. Yeah, you beat Jacksonville. Jefferson wasn't good. The offense struggled to move the ball. It struggled to get the ball into the end zone. But the defense continues to bail you out in some of these close games. So I got him at number 9. Some good stuff to take away. But overall, I think it was a negative game for the Vikings. At number 8, we got the Green Bay Packers. We're on a bye week. Going to get healthy. Hope Jordan Love can stay healthy throughout the rest of the season, because you got some concerns in terms of, like, can this team stay healthy? I mean, you've had injuries on the in the receiving room. You've had injuries in the secondary. Jordan Love has been in and out of the lineup. You've got to get healthy, and you've got to figure out, can Jordan Love be consistent? The turnovers have been a disaster for him this year. He's just not playing on time. He's not playing in rhythm like we saw last year. And that's a concern with this Packers team. They've been running the ball well. I feel like they should give Josh Jacobs the ball more, to be honest, if anything. I feel like he isn't given the opportunities that he should, and he's producing when he is getting the ball. But look, they're getting healthy. I think the bye came at the right time for them. They're 3 games above 500. Now let's ramp it up and let's go make a playoff push. I think Green Bay can do it. I picked them to win the Super Bowl coming into the year. I wouldn't go that far now, but I got them at number 8. I think there's a good Packers team overall. At number 7, the Washington Commanders dropped down 2 spots. Nothing too significant. And it's not even that I feel bad about the Commanders or where their direction's going. I feel better about a couple of teams, one of which beat them and one of which they played Thursday night. So, I mean, this is still a young team, still an undisciplined team. Jazon Newton has a bad mistake late on a 4th and 1, bites on the hard count, and that's really why they lose this game. But I think it was a good loss for the Commanders, as weird as that sounds, because you've played good football all year round. You haven't really had a true test where you're going up against like an elite opponent. And Jaden Daniels, he played well against a good Steelers defense, played really well for them. So we'll see if he's able to continue that. I thought they ran the ball effectively. Terry McLaurin is jumping into like top 5 receiver range, because week in and week out, he's having a big play for this team. He's been awesome for the Commanders as that deep ball threat. They still need another weapon. Their secondary still really is concerning. They allowed some big plays over the top. The defense is still a concern, I think. Overall, yeah, it's a good defense. It's not great. You need Marshawn Lattimore back there to really like help solidify this group, because it's young, it's inexperienced, and they allow big plays. He was out of the game yesterday. Hopefully he's there Thursday night against Philadelphia, but nonetheless, I got him sitting at number 7. I think they've got room to improve, but I don't think this is a loss where you feel awful about if you are Washington. At number 6, it is the team that beat them. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a huge win for the Steelers. A Steelers team that is, I've been low on for quite a while, but the more I watch this team, I mean, putting Russ in was the right decision, and I agreed with it at the time. And that move is just continuing to pay dividends for them. That throw to Mike Williams yesterday, Justin Fields can't make that throw, and he wouldn't make that throw. He was awesome in this game. Russ doesn't turn the ball over. He's smart, accurate with the football. They're running the ball effectively. And then he's getting the ball to George Pickens, who's making incredible plays. Mike Williams comes in. This team has reliable weapons on the offensive side of the ball, and Russell Wilson isn't turning the football over. That's the big thing for this team. Russ is not putting them in harm's way, and that's going to win you football games. I don't know what their ceiling is, but it's high, especially with the defense that plays the way they play. They're tough. They're physical. They rush the passer. They create tons of pressure. They're in your face. They stop the run. I mean, this is one of the most balanced teams in all of football right now. Really, the only concerns are, do you have the weaponry to hold up in January? And can Russ actually get you to the promised land? I'm not ruling out that as a possibility. I think the Steelers team is that good right now, and that's saying a lot from a guy that has not been very high on the Steelers. I think this team's really good. I've got them at number 6. At number 5, we got the Philadelphia Eagles jumping up one spot. And you beat the Cowboys. It's going to be really interesting, the game on Thursday night, to see how this team is looking, because they're finally able to run the ball effectively with Saquon. Jalen Hurts is starting to get his confidence back with his legs. He's throwing the ball better. His accuracy has been better, and he's not turning the ball over at an alarming rate like he was early on in the season. On top of that, the team's healthy. You got good play from Devonta Smith, from A.J. Brown. All of that you feel really confident about going into the rest of the season, which you haven't for the rest of the year. Nick Sirianni does still scare me as a head coach. The defense has been surprisingly really impressive. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, I mean, really, really good rookie class that they've had. And then you're getting great play from the front. Josh Sweat and Jalen Carter are creating pressure. And this is a really fun Eagles team. I do think their ceiling is the Super Bowl. I think they can get back there. I really do. I think they've got the talent and the pieces in place to get back to the Super Bowl. And this is a better team than that Super Bowl team was. I do believe that. So got them jumping up a spot to number 5. You would like to see maybe a little bit better play from the edge rushers. I don't think it's bad. And then obviously the coaching is a concern for me. But I got them staying at number 5. At number 4, I got the Bills. Josh Allen had a couple of bad interceptions in this game, but otherwise it was dominant. They were running the ball well. They were throwing the ball well without Amari Cooper, without Keon Coleman. Khalil Shakir is a real guy for this team. Like, he's a real threat, physical slot weapon. He was killing the Colts yesterday. The defense is getting healthy. I don't know if this defense is elite, but Matt Milano coming back is going to be massive for them. Teron Johnson was awesome in this game. They forced 3 interceptions on Flacco, and it probably could have been 5. It was that bad. Their secondary was flying around, and I thought the defense played really well. They had a really great game on the road against Indianapolis. They beat Kansas City. We could have some conversations about this Buffalo team, because I think this Bills team is really freaking good, and I've got them staying at number 4 this week. Didn't do enough to jump up, but they didn't do enough to jump down. Same thing with my number 3 team, the Ravens. I'm worried about the passing defense. Again, their secondary just allows big plays left and right, week in and week out, and they feel very beatable because of it. Can they be more consistent and stop that? We'll see. Really, the issue in this game was Derrick Henry really didn't get it going. He wasn't running the ball. He mooned us in this game, which was it was something to see. But, I mean, this Ravens team's great. I mean, they're playing great football. Zay Flowers had a good game. Lamar Jackson was just perfect in this game, passing-wise. Just didn't make mistakes. Smart, accurate quarterback. And he's evolving his game to another level that we haven't seen from him. And I'm really impressed. The defense is still a concern. Madubuike was awesome in this game, but I got them staying at number 3. At number 2 stays the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't care that they beat the Broncos. How do you feel confident in this Chiefs team? We could go through 5 games on this schedule that they're too close to call, really, with this team. lost to the toe of Isaiah Likely in week 1. Week 2, against the Bengals, you had boneheaded mistakes from Cincinnati and, just stupid decisions down the stretch from Jamar Chase. Week 3, a pass interference doesn't get called in your favor where you win the game. You have the game against Tampa last week where you win the coin toss in overtime. Very chancy thing to do there. And if Bowles goes for 2, you probably lose that game. And then you win on a blocked field goal. This team's 9-0. It doesn't feel like a great 9-0 though. And the talk coming out of it hasn't been, oh my gosh, this team is 9-0. It's like, oh, how are they going to keep doing this? This is not a trend that's going to continue for the rest of the year. I don't see it happening. These games are too close, and they're going to struggle on one of these. The offense has been bad. I don't think the defense was all that good this week either against Denver. I've got them staying at number 2, though, because they're the Chiefs, and they're undefeated. And even though I haven't been that impressed, they're still winning games, and their defense has been good, and you still got Patrick Mahomes. And, you get the picture. They're number 2. The Lions are number 1, though. That was one of the most impressive wins of the season. 5 interceptions for Jared Goff in this one. The offense doesn't get it going for 2.5 quarters, and then they're starting to run the ball. Jahmyr Gibbs might be the fastest running back in the league. As soon as he puts his foot down, it seems like he is going to make a big play. He has been awesome for the Lions this year. And they were able to win this game because their defense stepped up. Carlton Davis was big. And then Jake Bates, 2 big field goals that barely get in there, but they do get in there. And man, this Lions team is tough. They play really tough football. They're just a pain. They're in your face, and they're getting Zadarius Smith next week, which I think is a huge addition for them. I got the Lions staying at number 1 in this week's power rankings. Let me know, though. Do you guys agree with the rankings? Do you disagree? Let me know where you think I'm right, where you think I'm wrong. Leave a like on this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.